Greetings and salutations. This is Wolffoetowtech coming directly to you through the power of the internet via the YouTube video sharing platform. And I recently watched the Pokemon press conference that was released on the 28th. I don't know how long it will take this video to get uploaded. Some of these videos, when I get really long, take up to like 3 or 4 hours. But I'll try to keep it short and simple. Important disclaimer coming up from here about me and Pokemon. I was an ultra fan of Pokemon back in the red, blue, gold, silver days. He's all the way up into like the ruby, sapphire, and tipping into the pearl, diamond era. After that point, I kind of got really distracted with other video game franchises, and I kind of burnt out on Pokemon. So after like the 4th generation, I'm pretty shaky as far as Pokemon is concerned, because I haven't been following it that much after that point. Only loosely here and there, and I still buy games in the franchise. I still play some Pokemon games. I just don't play them to nearly the level I used to in the old days, you know. So that is very important to pull out in front of everyone. So you're gonna like talk to me about like stuff from this 5th and 6th and 7th and this new 8th generation of Pokemon. I only know the basics, and I know the general theme that's going forward. However, I don't know all the details in between, just because I kind of just checked out after a while. I still have a lot of Pokemon games, though. Here's Pokemon Stadium up here. I also have Pokemon Snap as well, and Hey You Pikachu. Just not the boxes for them, you know. The boxes didn't survive that situation. Some of the boxes are actually pretty roughed up like Bomberman and Battle Tanks. But yeah. So on to the press conference. Try to keep this quick, because the longer this video is, the longer it takes to upload. Anything that gets past as 15 to 20 minutes turns into a 3 to 4 hour upload. So I had to keep it quick. First and foremost, there was a long introduction section, beautiful music. Then they went into the announcement, the introduction between, the president of Pokemon Company and so forth, and then they talked about the movies. The Toho representative came out, talked about Detective Pikachu and the remake of Mewtwo Strikes Back, and then a representative from the Pokemon. I don't know the name of the division or the company that runs it, but the Pokemon Center guy came out and talked about expansions into various other places like Tokyo and a few other expansions of Pokemon centers around Japan. Then they after that they roamed into Pokemon Quest. I did not get too many details out of that. Let's just say it's around the 12-minute and 40-second and 12-minute and 40 seconds mark in the live stream. 1333 on the Pokemon Quest. That was mentioned quickly. I have to go look that up quickly to see exactly what Pokemon Quest is. Then they moved on to Game Freak, which talked about the history of Pokemon. A quick rundown of that. Mentioned Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I do have Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, yet to play it. As I said before, I still end up buying a lot of the games. I just don't spend. I even got the steel case for Pokemon and Go Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. So I got the case. I got the Pokeball Plus. Get the Pokeball Plus out, because I got the Pokeball Plus. Okay, this comes up later in the live stream. I still end up buying a lot of Pokemon stuff. I'm just a kind of semi burnt out old fan of the franchise. I pretty much back in the generations. But they talk about Pokemon on the Nintendo platforms, and then they bring up Pokemon Home, and this is the most interesting part I came across in the whole Pokemon the whole deal. Pokemon Home is a new service. It is both on the Nintendo Switch as well as mobile, or it's also on your phone. This is my old phone, by the way. And it connects between Pokemon Bank, Pokemon Go, and Pokemon Sword and Shield on the Nintendo Switch. So 3DS, mobile, and Nintendo Switch. And it apparently has transfer connections between Pokemon Bank to Pokemon Home, but no arrows going back to Pokemon Bank. And then they have a question mark, question mark. I don't know what this is. There was all Japanese logo. I could not remember for the life of me exactly what it was in the Nintendo Switch box section. And then there's arrow going from Pokemon Go towards Pokemon Home. The interesting thing is there's arrows going from Pokemon Sword and Shield to Pokemon Home and from Pokemon Home to Sword and Shield. So there's two-way connectivity there, but there's only one directional connectivity from Pokemon Go to Pokemon Home and Pokemon Bank to Pokemon Home. My general theory is Pokemon Home is going to be the new Pokemon Bank. As far as I could understand, and the whole deal. I wrote that down. There's Pokemon Home appears to be a new Pokemon Bank, but it also seems to have some mild Miiverse components to it too. So there's a lot of scenes of people connecting arrows to each other. They're in social connections and kind of like that old Facebook map where there's pictures of people's icons and then there's all of the world and there's arrows going back and forth between them. So it's kind of like that. And the Pokemon Home is coming out for, as I said, the mobile and Nintendo Switch, and it is coming out in 2020. So that is it for that part. Pokemon Home, there's not too much details. It seems to be a hybrid of a Pokemon social network and a Pokemon bank service. There's most definitely going to be more stuff beyond just a bank service and basic social connectivity because they are giving it the name Pokemon Home. There might be like profiles on it and other stuff like that, your achievements across the franchise, across the games. And then they go into, this is the next point that goes into it, and they go, this is where it gets strange a little bit with Pokemon. They go into a little montage, a Pokemon Go montage, and then it gets mildly religious and righteous. And then it goes into an announcement for Pokemon Sleep. Pokemon Sleep. The logo is Pokemon Sleep with Select Button. I believe the name Select Button might actually be the developer of Pokemon Sleep or a feature or connection with Pokemon Sleep. There's mentions of Nintendo and Niantic Tech tied into there, as well as Niantic is the company behind Pokemon Go. Nintendo had this quality assurance quality of life programming or program. They were developing technologies for health and mental well-being, physical and mental well-being of people. And there's always that take a break, and then there's Pokemon Go with its promotion of get outside and explore and stuff like that. And then you got also Wii Fit as well and stuff like that. That's a part of their QLT program. So you end up with that stuff. So Nintendo recently announced months back that they've came to a conclusion in their QLT programming, Nintendo Quality of Life program. So they basically developed everything to an end point or gave up on it, and they're closing it down. Apparently, that kind of spun off into Pokemon with Pokemon Sleep and. Seriously, people. Hello, Alex Jones. Nintendo and Pokemon Company are trying to control people's sleep patterns and health and well-being. Please alert the masses. Okay? Yeah? All right. Thank you. Kind of thing. So, there's various points throughout this whole thing where they show pictures of people outside playing Pokemon Go, and then there's the next montage of people sleeping in a bed, Pokemon Sleep, and they also announce something to that expands into that. So and they go on to they show off a little bit of Pokemon's the little icon of Pokemon Sleep, and mentions Niantic and Nintendo and their select button with select button or something like that. Then the Nintendo representative pops out, talks about Pokemon Go Plus and Pokeball Plus, and that's right around the 22-minute 56-second mark. And then he announces the Pokemon Go Plus Plus, which looks like a Pokeball, but is a flat disc. It's kind of like it looks like the pedometer from Pokemon Heart of Gold and Soul Silver. I have my pedometer from Pokemon Heart of Gold and Soul Silver around here somewhere. But, I have it somewhere around here. But anyways, there's Pokemon Red, there's Pokemon Blue. I still got the boxes for them. Somewhere in here I have Pokemon Heart, Gold, and Soul Silver. Oh, there's Pokemon Gold version. Original box. As I said, I was super hardcore into Pokemon, but I kind of just burned myself out ridiculously on it. I played it way too much, seriously. I leveled up. I had all 151 Pokemon, and I leveled up 151, actually 200, and, well, it's actually closer to 300-ish Pokemon. Between 200 and 300 Pokemon up to level 75 just to compare their stats. It's back in Red and Blue days. It was ridiculous. Just on Red version. So I had Red, Blue, Yellow version, and it's I think my problem with Pokemon is I played so much of it, I just burned myself out entirely on Red and Blue. I might be on the spectrum, but I am not nearly on the spectrum that some of the PokeTubers are. Seriously, some of those people were a little crazy when it comes to Pokemon. And they show off my notes here. They show off pictures of a person holding it and pushing the button. So it's a big disc like a pedometer, but it has a big button in the center that lights up green and orange. And they push. There's a picture of a person pushing it like this, or actually it's like this, but it's a disc, so it's flat in their hand and they're pushing the button. And then there's a picture of a person sleeping in their bed with it sitting on their. Oh, I woke it up, but it's sitting on their bed, and while they're sleeping, and the green light is on. So Nintendo is invading your sleep. The Pokemon Go Plus Plus connects to your smartphone. No duh. They literally showed a picture of that. It shows a picture of a person, people outside, a family around it. Like, oh, there's this cute little thing, and the kid is pushing the button, and the mom and the dad is right next to him. And then there's also a picture right next to that of a person sleeping next to it. They're really pushing this Pokemon sleep thing in multiple layers here. They talk about Pokemon Go, then Pokemon on Sleep again, mentions a Snorlax event. If you're playing Pokemon on, there will be a Snorlax event and that'll be going on in Pokemon Go. I don't know if it includes the United States or anything. It might just be Japan, but they just showed a picture of Snorlaxes everywhere. Seriously. And then they move on to the next little section. That it takes forever for them to move from one section to another. They're Japanese. They come out, they bow, they walk slowly to the podiums the whole time. You know, if you you could actually turn the 30+ minute whole thing, 30 minutes, easily into 15 minutes. Literally no effort. I was actually going to do a live or a reaction video of it, and because it takes so long, and I'm not a reaction type person in reaction videos, you know, I've done them a few times on this channel, but I'm not a really reactive person. I'm not like HMK is kind of person. I'm just like, oh, that's fascinating. So you can do this now. That's nice. I was gonna actually have Pokemon music playing. I was actually gonna have Pokemon music playing in the background, and I forgot to do it. Yeah. And then they come into the Pokemon Company president. It brings in the mentions of DNA and Pokemon Masters, a mobile game, and it appears to be a something of a. I wrote down squad-based RPG, but it actually looks more like a old turn-based RPG, where kind of like the old Final Fantasies or Dragon Quest, except for each member of your team has a Pokemon out on the field. And there's 3 Pokemon and there's 3 trainers. And the trainer and the Pokemon have synergy with each other. And the Pokemon does an action, and the trainer does flamboyant movement to power up the Pokemon. And that was a really short montage, but a really interesting bit. They showed a lot of not a lot of graphics, but the basic graphic of Pokemon Masters was mostly people from the first generation, the second generation, the third generation, and the fourth generation, as well as some characters from a character or two from later generations. But it's mostly the first 4, which was really interesting to me and caught my eye. Plus new trainers. So plus Brock was in it and Misty. So there seems to be a heavy emphasis on the first 3 almost 4ish generations of Pokemon with Pokemon Masters. Which is interesting. It's a mobile game by DNA, so I'm actually kind of interested in itself with it, because you know that the first 3, 4ish generations of Pokemon, that's when I played a lot of Pokemon. Played a lot of Pokemon in the first and second generation. I played slightly less of that in the third generation, which is still a ridiculous amount. And same thing with the 4th generation, but from the 5th generation on, I didn't get to the Elite Four and every 2 gyms back. So basically, by the time you get to like the 7th generation, I basically beat the first 2 gyms and I stopped playing after that. I'm thinking of getting back into Pokemon. However, I'm gonna have to go back into another ramble after this. And then they show off the Pokemon shirts, or it's Pokemon shirts brand or clothing brand, where the president of Pokemon company opens his shirt and shows his shirt, and it's all Pokemon on it. It's the Pokemon shirts brand, and there's a whole picture of a whole bunch of different formal shirts. Not like this. I mean like business shirts, undershirts, under business coats. Oh, it's with just Pokemon on graphics on it. So that pretty much ends it out right there for the Pokemon press conference. It ends around 33 minutes. I forgot to make note of the exact moment in which it ended at. What was I going to bring up to? Oh yeah, I was thinking about getting back into Pokemon. You know, going back and playing Red and Blue and Gold and Silver, and just going through the older games. I have to go and put new batteries in the Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal versions, as well as check out see if my the batteries are good in the Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire and so forth, and Emerald, and Leaf Green and Fire Red. Because right around now is basically the time in which all those batteries in those old Pokemon cartridges, a lot of games from the NES, Super NES, and the early Game Boy days, and up to Game Boy Color, the batteries are going dead in them, and the files are failing to save. Okay, so just had to take note of that. But I've been thinking about getting back into Pokemon. My problem is that getting back into the new stuff is not that hard. Okay, I paid attention to the new stuff coming out and paid attention to the new mechanics. The problem for me is that I got into a conversation with Thunder Productions, and I basically mentioned it to them that part of the thing that I loved about Pokemon was the mystery, the adventure, and the discovery of things. Nintendo and the Pokemon Company and Game Freak wreck the snot out of that now. I'm not joking. They announce in about a week from now they will have a Pokemon Direct about 6 months out plus or minus of the launch period of Pokemon Sword and Shield. First and foremost, it's 6 months out. Every so many weeks, they're going to show off something new. They've done this at the past 4-ish generations. By time I say I pre-order, I go and pre-order Pokemon Sword or Shield, depending on whichever one has the most interesting, the one that the legendary and the exclusives that are the most interesting to me. And then all the way up to the release, they show off all kinds of stuff. And by the time we get to release, I bought the game, I go home with it, but they showed off so much of the game already that I basically have very little drive to actually play it. So I just go off and play something else and don't really even touch it. So I keep... Pokemon is still a big thing. It still sells tons and tons of games and tons of cards. Incidentally, no, I don't have my Pokemon cards in here. They're in the other room. But I really want the mystery of Pokemon to come back. I want the adventure and discovery to come back. However, there is way too many people documenting the crap out of everything, and Nintendo and Game Freak showing off way too much of the games, all running up all the way up to release. It basically just ruins the excitement and the fun for me. So I don't even know if I'm gonna buy them. And incidentally, I buy pretty much. I buy tons of Pokemon games. Incidentally, I'm a really big Mega Man fan, by the way. I just don't. I'm also a big Castlevania fan too. But I just can't get super excited anymore about Pokemon because Nintendo just ruins the snot out of it for me. There's Pokemon X. I have a lot of games, by the way. Kirby Robo Planet, Animal Crossing, Happy Home Designer. Yeah, I said before in a video, I have pretty much all the Animal Crossing games that are released in the United States. I pretty much have almost all the Animal Crossing games released in the United States. I think the one exception is Amiibo Party. Yes, I think that's the exception right there. It is Amiibo Party. Oh, Pokemon Sun version. I never even started it. At some point, I really had to get back into playing, but I have a hard time getting back into Pokemon. As I said before, and I keep saying it again and again and again and again and again and again. Nintendo and Game Freak does such a heavy-handed job of showing off so much of the games that it practically takes out the excitement for me to buy the game. Oh, the last Pokemon game I played the snot out of, Pokemon Pearl. I'm almost tempted to pull that back out and play it some more. I actually enjoyed the snot out of that one. Oh, Pokemon Heart of Gold. I know if I went into the other room and went through my boxes, I have my collector's boxes. This is for my Nintendo Wii U and other games right over here, but I know I can go and find the pedometer to show it to you, but you can find photos of the pedometer for the Pokemon Heart of Gold and Soul Silver, so. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. It's already too long as it is. And if you enjoy it, please leave a like on it. If you don't, please leave a dislike. And tell me what you think in the comments below. And see you next time. And so long, and thank you for all the fish sticks.